Yorkshire Police Constable PC Nabeel Khan. We mentioned him in a report on the 26th of March following an IOPC directed investigation, meaning that South Yorkshire Police investigate the incident but allegedly under the supervision of the IOPC, into drugs offences. Khan was based in Barnsley but was arrested in February 2021 after being accused of supplying drugs to a member of the public between March and February 2021. Following the investigation, the file was passed on to the CPS, who authorised charges against him, namely being concerned in the supply of controlled drugs, supplying controlled drugs, possession of controlled drugs with the intent to supply, and possession of criminal property. Well, Khan was actually under investigation at the time by so-called anti-corruption officers when they carried out a stop and search on him and found he had more than £400 in cannabis as well as cash and a burner mobile phone hidden in his car. It appears that the drugs issue wasn't what he was being investigated for in the first place, and the drugs offences came to light after he was suspended, which appears to have been for making searches on the force's computer systems for no policing purpose. It was a search of his phone that led to the drug deals that he had been making whilst on duty. Khan, who described himself as an addict, has been jailed for 2 years by Grimsby Crown Court after admitting supplying cannabis and being concerned in its supply. Prosecutor Jeremy Evans said the officer was dealing in drugs whilst employed as an officer, but said he had not abused his position as an officer and his customers would not have known he was a serving police officer. Even though one of the deals he done was whilst in the back of a police car with his colleague driving. The court was told his customers were regularly sent messages offering loyalty incentives and bulk discount to customers over a 10-month period. Having investigated the mobile phone, police found blocked text messages to clients offering cannabis ranging from £20 deals up to £200 for 28 grams. The text messages revealed times and delivery and strains of cannabis on offer. He is seeking to increase sales and profits. In the notes on the phone, there is a list of names involved in the supply, the ounces, and who he owed money, said Mr. Evans. Adding, the phones also had video images of the defendant surrounded by drug paraphernalia and of him smoking cannabis himself in the presence of others. Mark Bates defending Khan at Grimsby.
I have difficulty formulating my words.
Mark Bates, defending Khan at Grimsby Crown Court, said his client had suffered from lower back pain for a number of years. That in turn caused low mood and anxiety, and he took cannabis for medical purposes. He denied his client made money from the drug deals and had only agreed to sell it for another man in return for a top-up of cannabis for his own purposes. He said the photos on the phone of him smoking were taken abroad in places where it is legal to smoke cannabis. Mr. Bates said his client was naive when he told the man supplying the cannabis that he was a police officer. He said his client has a wife and 2 young children. Judge Michael Fanning said, "Your wrongdoing has wider repercussions. Colleagues in South Yorkshire Police put him under surveillance. Evidence showed he was dealing between March 2020 and February 2021. The police investigation showed there was £95,000 of income that could not be accounted for. Yeah, and he wasn't selling it. You were a real salesman," said the judge, offering incentives and bulk discount. "You put your head in the lion's mouth. You were meant to be protecting the public, but you were propping up a criminal enterprise. You stupidly told your dealer you were a police officer, and that then led to pressure to deal in drugs. But you could have chosen to refuse. You should have told your senior officers. Police officers who are off duty say they can never turn a blind eye to crime. It was your choice not to do your job. You put yourself ahead of your obligations to your colleagues and your duty to the public." Deputy Chief Constable Tim Forber said Nabeel Khan was a corrupt officer who abused the trust and confidence placed in him as a police officer to deal drugs on our city's streets and has no place in policing. I'm sorry that he ever found a place here. Former PC Nabeel Khan first came to the attention of our counter-corruption unit in December 2020. when our systems showed searches carried out by him without a policing purpose. He was immediately suspended and later dismissed from the force and placed on the police barred list. Prior to his dismissal, our counter-corruption investigators had launched a separate investigation into Khan following intelligence suggesting he may be dealing drugs. Our officers were appalled to find out he was not only dealing drugs but planning to do so whilst on duty. Khan was found with cannabis with an estimated street value of £435 and an additional mobile phone and cash in his car. This causes huge damage to the trust and confidence to the public that the public put into police officers. It's essential the public can have this trust in us, and when they need help for the most sensitive of matters, we need them to feel able to report it and speak to us. Whilst I am incredibly disappointed and appalled at the actions of Khan, I am reassured that our systems, processes and most importantly our officers were able to identify these behaviours and exit him from the organisation as soon as possible. Khan will now face 2 years in prison, and we wholeheartedly believe that this is the best place for him. And so say all of us.
Another one bites the dust.
To be honest, prison is the best place for most of you cretinous cops.